2007 marked the year BMW released their 4th generation M3, the E92, and it changed everything. Instead of the traditional straight 6 found in previous generation M3s and the new M3 M4, BMW decided to do something a little bit different. Remember that glorious V10 found in the E60 M5 and the M6? Well, BMW took that engine, chopped off 2 cylinders, reduced the displacement to 4 litres, and thus the M3's V8 was born. And it screamed all the way up to 8,300 RPM. And when properly warmed up, it could push that red line even further. I just can't get over that V8 soundtrack. Now, before we go into it, let's rewind the clock a bit. It's 1986. BMW have just revealed the Holy Grail, the E30 M3. A car sworn by car lovers to be still the best handling car of all time, winning multiple championships in all areas of motorsport. BMW were onto something here. Fast track 30 years and an extra 4 cylinders later, BMW have brought us their 4th incarnation of the M3, the E92. It's not as raw as the previous M3s. It's actually a very pleasant car to drive daily. When we found out that they're going to stick a V8 in the M3 chassis, BMW purists were a little bit ticked off. They felt like the V8 would add extra weight and the car would feel sluggish and wouldn't be as well balanced as it was. But I think they judged too soon, because the V8 found in the E92 was actually 30 pounds lighter than the S54 found in the E46 M3, which, according to M3 purists, were made from granite. The V8 is that much lighter because of its aluminium construction. Now, the E92 M3, for me, has felt like the best of both worlds. You didn't get the straight 6, you got the V8. So it feels like you have the M3 body, but with the performance of the M5. Even though the M3 is based on the regular 3 Series, there's a clear distinction between the two. That being the M3 body kit, the flared arches for wider track, the signature power bulge on the M3's aluminium bonnet, the quad exhaust which let out a hurricane if your right foot's feeling heavy. And not to forget, what makes the M3 so great is that high revving monster of a V8. The M3 came with 2 different gearboxes, a 6-speed manual and a 7-speed DCT. And this being the DCT, let me just say, BMW, you finally got the flappy paddle gearbox done right. In automatic mode, the car feels tame. It feels like a daily driver. But put your foot down, the M3 drops the gear and goes. Drop it even further, it drops 2 gears, and you're off. The soundtrack coming from the M Performance exhaust is absolutely intoxicating. That, paired with the high revving rumble of the V8, creates a symphony of bangs and crackles. But where the M3 really comes alive is in manual mode, which with the quick shift of the gear stick, you enter flappy paddle mode. These flappy paddles. I never thought I would like an automatic gearbox or flappy paddles, but I absolutely love it. You know, there's a good amount of tension behind the paddles itself, so it doesn't feel like you're just pressing a button. It feels like you're actually engaged with the gear transitions. I love the click. It's such a satisfying click. You can even change your gear transition speed from slow and steady to lightning quick. Pretty cool. There's a little power button here which, if you press it, doesn't really increase the power, but sharpens the throttle response. And then comes the traction control, which you can switch from on, or if you really want to go crazy, off, or MDM, which is M dynamic mode, which is the Goldilocks setting. Not too much, not too little, just right. If you don't want to mess about with all these different settings and want to go straight into race mode with all the hardcore settings on, there's a special button here on the steering wheel with the letter M. This is the M drive, and it makes the car do very bad things, but at the same time, very good things. The M3's cabin is actually a really nice place to be. You're seated in these extremely comfortable leather bucket seats, which are completely adjustable, from the lumbar support to the side bolsters to hook you in. You also get the signature thick M steering wheel, which feels weird at first, but you grow to love it. I love the interior trim. It's made from leather and plastic, and it's not the cheap kind of plastic you get. It actually feels very solid, and I really do like this black on black on black theme going on here. You know, it looks smart without trying too hard. The M3's interface is pretty awesome. It's got all the information you need to know about the car's log data, satellite navigation, and it's so easy to use with the iDrive controller. This M3 also has the optional competition package, which gave it a 1/2 inch wider track and it sat 1/2 inch lower. That, together with the 19-inch cast alloy wheels, which are similar to the ones found on the rare M3 CSLs, give it an incredibly menacing stance. I love the carbon accents of the M3. You got the front 2 carbon flippers, which I think are an extra, and you get the carbon fiber roof, which lowers the center of gravity of the M3 and lightens it. That's a trick taken from the M3 CSL, if I remember correctly. You do tend to get a lot of looks in this car. Some are good, some are very positive, and you just get one of those very dirty looks to you, like, goddamn BMW drivers. God damn you. Even though it's based on the 3 Series, which is a big car in itself, this car, it doesn't feel big. It actually feels like a lighter car, lighter and smaller car than it actually is. You know, this car weighs about 1,650 kilos, which makes it the heaviest M3 ever made, and it just doesn't, I don't feel that weight. Braking is so good. Even though they're only single piston, the brakes are very decent in the M3. One of the issues consumers had with the M3 was not so much the torque figure, but where it was placed in the rev range, which was around 3,900 RPM. So you really had to give it some to get the power that you wanted at the right time. But I believe it gave this M3 a dual personality. So below that 3,900 RPM, the car is calm, relaxed, even lazy, and it's great to drive around town. But as soon as you go above that 3,900 RPM range, this car really lets loose, and it shows you what it's made of. Downshift, and if that doesn't put a smile on your face, I don't know what will. BMW give a lot of praise to their M3, and they call it the ultimate driving machine, and you really do get to see why they call it that. This thing is so planted. You can go at speed in these corners and it will just stay on the road, it won't go anywhere. Brand new, the M3 was about 60k. Nowadays you can pick one up from about 17k to around about 40, which for what you get is an absolute steal. Now, don't expect to get great fuel efficiency with the M3, even though it is better than the previous generation M3. It's still pretty bad. If you get too happy with your right foot, you'll find yourself at the petrol station more frequent than you would want to be. If I was to sum up this car in one word, it would be benchmark. BMW made sure that the M3 sets benchmarks. It sets the bar very high. It doesn't have four-wheel drive like the Audi, and it's not as powerful as the C63, but that's not what BMW is about. BMW's M3 is about the feel, it's about performance, it's about all these things combined into one car. That V8 though, now that the naturally aspirated V8 is replaced by a twin turbo 3 litre straight 6 in the new generation's M3 M4, I believe that the naturally aspirated V8 will be missed, because you just don't get this sound anymore. Just listen to that high revving V8. If you're contemplating getting an E92 M3, just drive one and you'll understand how I feel. I now want one. Hassan, if you're listening, when you sell this car, let me know. I'll head off to Mexico, sell one of my kidneys, maybe my left leg, I won't need my left leg, and I'll have this car. The reason I am so head over heels about the E92 is that it marks an end of an era, a great era in a long line of M cars that have graced our roads and the racetrack. The last of the naturally aspirated M cars. All future cars will be forced induction, which does make sense for more power and more efficiency. But you can't deny the way it sounds. You can't deny the way a naturally aspirated V8 sounds. Front two carbon flippers, which I think are an extra on the M3, and you also, M2. I had a feeling it was not. Be for real. To the high rev range.